Go. So, Raphael, thank you for joining us today. And we're going to talk about the gemstone rating system that Gübelin Gem Labs have recently launched. And so, can you tell us what was the motivation behind this new initiative by Gübelin?
Thank you. Thank you for your time. The main motivation was to make it simpler for the consumers to get access to colored gemstones. As we know before, with diamonds are more standardized, and it makes it easier for people to select and buy, and colored gemstones were always seen as much more difficult. But I think with the rating, that really helps to bring the simplicity to it, to give them a guidance in this very, very complex world of colored gemstones. Now,
Right.
at the same time, I think it's also very important for the trade, because I think as we go more digital, we want to be sure that the gemstones that we would like to see, that we can request more accurately which gemstone we are looking for. And therefore, I think it's a great tool for the trade as well.
Right. And so there are three pillars of the system as we understand. You have the quality, which is where the color, the cut, the clarity comes in. You have the rarity factor when it comes to a gemstone. And the third aspect is salience. So is there a weightage system that that your team has assigned across these three factors that we could talk about?
Yes, of course, we have weighted the three factors, and the most weight in our opinion goes to the quality, and then it's the rarity, and the smallest portion is the salience. We feel that the salience is very important because we're talking about the beauty there, the essence, what we think is beautiful. But at the same time, we have to say it's a certain subjective opinion, our expert opinion, that we feel this is considered to be beautiful, to have that salience that we are looking for. But it's an important factor in the overall rating.
Right. And what would you say to stakeholders in the industry who would say that the salience factor, even though it's small, is subjective and could potentially lead to some disputes or some disagreements, let's say, on the rating?
I would certainly say that there will be disagreements, because no matter what you do, if we're talking about how is the overall rating of a piece of art, of wine, it's all, I compare our rating also to the wine rating. And in wine rating, when we're talking about taste is what I feel is the taste. And yes, it's difficult, but at the same time, it gives you a guidance. It's a tool to give guidance. It's not, we are not the ones saying this is what is beautiful. That's what we feel it's beautiful. We give a guide, but maybe people have a completely different opinion about certain elements and say, listen, yes, you might not like it as much, but I think it's the greatest thing that I have ever seen. Fine enough. That is perfectly okay.
Right. But then, but from a consumer standpoint, when, don't you think that one could also enter into an area where consumers tend to get fixated on a rating? It's something that we as human beings going to school and getting a grade have been used to. And so the tendency would be to, oh, I don't want this stone because the rating is only like 78 and not 85. And so how would, and for example, with vintage cuts, you have the color, you have the rarity of the material, and you have probably scoring very high on the salience as well. But the cut may not necessarily be perfect by today's standards. So would you employ the same criteria to also give a rating to stones like those?
So there were a lot of questions in that the last few sentences. So let me start off on the top. So the idea is bringing simplicity. And
Yes.
of course, if you bring simplicity to a very complex system, it's not going to be easy. And therefore, giving a grade is going to be difficult to give a single number. And yes, there will be consumers who might be more looking at it. But then at the same time, we might not be the only ones doing that rating. Maybe you're gonna have a rating too in the future, your rating. So as you saw it with wines, there is several ratings out there for wines, and
Mm,
some might like more this way and the other one more other way, and therefore you as a consumer can then start and say, okay, maybe I trust more this person or maybe that person. So that I
right,
think is very important.
right.
Now, to your second question regarding the cuts, yes, I mean, of course, if it's an old stone, it has a different way how we look at it. So
Yes.
we also take that into consideration.
Yes. Okay. And so, one of the other questions and some of the initial reactions that have come after the announcements have been, is this a group of people, a group of graders sitting somewhere in a lab who are coming up with this grading? Or is it one person? Is it a combination of a computer algorithm? So what's the secret formula?
So the secret formula, it's a combination of people that are already have a very aligned perspective or impression on how to look onto gemstones.
Right.
So it's certainly not good if you only have a single person, and it's certainly not good if a grading is always done just by one or another one. So we're trying to do that with multiple people, but we have been testing that for some time already. So over a year or 2 years, we are testing the system in different variations, and it has been going quite well.
Excellent. Well, I think that's it for now. And congratulations on the launch. And we look forward to tracking this new initiative and hearing more from the Gübelin Gem Lab in the future.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.